administration and members of Tiffany Valley School Corporation Board of Education, and Mr. Connolly. Welcome to the 2019 Burket Education Center graduation celebration. It is with great pleasure that we meet here today to honor the accomplishments of this fine group of students before you. Before we begin, would those who are able please rise as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your attendance here today for this joyous occasion to celebrate with us the accomplishments of our students that we're about to meet. The students that you see here today to be honored have worked very hard to get where they are here today. They have had to overcome many obstacles, both personal and academic, on their passage from youth to adulthood. Whether the students were in tough situations because of choices they made or victims of circumstance is irregardless. What matters now is that they have finished high school. They are graduates here before you. When it came to earning their diploma, these students buckled down and focused on a moment of high significance, earning their high school diploma. Before we begin to honor them individually, we have a presentation from Mrs. Bope. Mrs. Bope is our JAG teacher here at Burket. Ms. Bope, could you come up, please? She works extremely closely with our students on skills that they need to be successful in the workplace. JAG's a phenomenal program that she has spearheaded for us here for the past 3 years. And Ms. Bope.
Good morning. How is everyone today? So what is JAG? JAG stands for Jobs for American Graduates. As he indicated, this is my 3rd year here at Burket, and unfortunately this will be my last year. We are altering the program a little bit through state fundings and cutbacks. We are still going to have a program here at Burket, similar to JAG, and we have, I'm going to make a little bit of introductions, have Jamie tell you about the program, Mr. Maury, and then I'll get back to talking about our JAG students, but that way he's not standing up here and waiting this long. So next year, so we're still blessed with work one and with the activities, and we're still going to be working with Burket, is Mr. Maury and it's Jamie Maury. And I'll let you tell, he's going to tell you, okay,
First of all, congratulations to the 2019 graduates of Burket Learning Center. So you guys should all be very proud of yourself. I love an environment like Burket Learning Center. I've been with the JAG program for, this is my 6th year. My first year I actually taught at Life Learning Center, which is in Elkhart, Indiana. It's an alternative center. I really enjoyed working with the kids there. I feel like the kids who had transferred from the traditional high school setting and went on to the alternative setting really kind of had it in you to, go against all those odds and try and make it happen. I think that's what you really have to do in life to be successful. Regarding this next year, we're still kind of trying to figure out exactly how it's going to look. We'll probably definitely incorporate many aspects of the JAG model. The JAG model is all about trying to get kids, prepared for life after high school ultimately. We teach budgeting exercises, we teach, what do you want to do, career pathways, and we're there to try and make it happen. I really am a firm believer in what we do, and I really do look forward to spending time with the community here and trying to make everyone have a little bit more of a successful ending. So thank you, congratulations.
now one thing I do want to say about Mr. Maury, he came in as a guest speaker and to tell a little bit about work experiences. Came in, I don't know, in January, February, something like that. And I'll tell you, with the students, he was hands down the favorite one. They all loved him. So just him coming in and sharing his experience, his past about JAG and helping them get jobs, he was the favorite one. Agreed, none agreed. For once, it was a smaller group, and I'm excited that he's going to be out here because I know, the students liked him in the past, and I think he'll build the program as well. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm not leaving work one. They're just having me be an out-of-school youth specialist. So those that do graduate or in the community, I will be continue working in Kosciuszko as an out-of-school specialist and Fulton County as well. So I'm still here as a resource, and I'll still be coming in and visiting as a classroom for those that are graduating or in the community. I'm still here to help you find jobs, to help resume, job search assistance. So we'll go on back to the JAG program. I just wanted to let everybody know of that's changing. So the JAG program, we have a couple different goals. Actually, there are several goals, both immediate goals for the kids, for the youth, and also for after graduation. Some of the immediate goals are improvements in employability skills and job readiness. How do we do that? We work with the youth on 37 core competencies. The list of those, to narrow them down a little bit: career development skills, job attainment skills, job survival skills, basic skills, leadership and teamwork. My favorite is the personal skills. You got life survival, workplace skills, and economic empowerment. Most of this is done through competencies. Teaching the kids these employability skills, how to do a resume. I highly focus on interview skills, positive attitude, how to get along with others, accept responsibility. These are all life skills after you graduate. You're going to need these your whole life. We very much encourage post-secondary education, whether this is a short-term training, whether it's a four-year college. Not everyone wants to go into the four-year college or military. That's okay. Go into a career, whether it's manufacturing, nursing. We're here to prepare whatever that next step is going to be. A few things that we did do this year that I had lots of fun with as well, and I think the students did. We assisted in setting up tables with the Beeman home. They had a fundraiser. We set the tables up for that. That was back in April. But an Easter egg hunt for the Jack and Jill preschool program. Loved that, just having the kids. And then just this week we did assisted with the Unified preschool game day there in Mentone. All about community service activities, service learning as well, assisting each other's. We only had one student that did compete or complete the 2-year, and that would be Autumn Buell. If she'll stand here, she was both junior and senior and is graduating this year. And a little bit about Autumn that I'd like to share. I believe she came in her sophomore year, right? Yes. And Autumn, last year, she went to the regional CDC Career Development Conference. I did not think I could get her to go. It was more of a challenge. She did. She placed second last year in employability skills in the region. She went to state last year. She got second in state. So this year, CDC comes around again. Autumn won it in employability skills. So I was very proud of her on that. And this year she's going to be taking some training through at Nurses Etc. for a CNA. We're able to pay for that for her to continue going. But she has been a model, very much of a model student through the JAG program. I think you've utilized absolutely every resource that we've had. And thank you for that. And if you guys we had a junior participate, and that would be Isaac. If you'll stand up. Isaac was Isaac Byers. He did at the regional this year. He got third place in public speaking. I have pushed and pushed Isaac to do it. Isaac, if I'm correct, Didn't you really just get that speech the night before? Was you really ready?
that day.
Or okay, that day. And
I was on the bus like, oh gosh, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
I was sitting there in the room, and once I was getting there, I saw everyone getting there, and I was like, oh,
he did amazing. So such a representation of small Burket. I mean, it shows the capacity and the willingness of these students. The potential is there. And I just want to bring that up. The rest of my senior students, if you'll stand, we have Raven. We got, what I call it, Treva, Tessa, Miss Caitlin, and Autumn stand again. Sorry, Jonathan. So congratulations to my JAG students. We don't have awards this year. I apologize for that, but I do have graduation gifts for you. So I think that is all I have for today.
In honor of Mrs. Pope's service to Burket, we wanted to give her a plaque thanking her for her time here and the lives she's touched. So thank you, Mrs. Pope. At this time, I take great pleasure in introducing Mr. Brandon Kreska. Mr. Kreska serves as the assistant principal at Tippecanoe Valley High School and as the program director here at the alternative program for Burket. He has a huge influence over the students and oversees the day-to-day aspects of the entire program. He's extremely kind-hearted and caring and has a lot of creativity that he's brought to the classroom with him to help make us a better school. His presence is strong, and students have a respect for him that's obvious. Mr. Kreska.
All right, thank you. And first off, I just want to thank everyone so much for coming. We pulled up, and I came, and I was just amazed to see all the cars in the parking lot. And in fact, I had a student with me, and they shared how excited they were to see everyone here. I just want to, again, talk about this is such a special day in these kids' lives, and we are so very proud of them. They have been working very hard, in particular, the past 3 or 4 months have been really grueling for some of them, and they have persevered, and again, I think they just deserve a round of applause for. So, a lot of them have had untraditional paths to make it, but as Mr. Lukens talked about already, they have. And, we believe that these students are very prepared for this world, and they are ready to grow and blossom. I did want to share something that hopefully would relate to a lot of people. I was a former English teacher, and I do enjoy poetry. This is actually my favorite poet, but it's not necessarily a traditional poet. So students, maybe you will know the words and this poem from your, maybe you know of Tupac Shakur. And Tupac shared this poem titled "The Rose That Grew from Concrete." I'd like to read it. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete, proving nature's law is wrong? Learn to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else cared. So, the beauty, and why I've always liked this, the beauty of this poem is in its name. Roses we think of as beautiful plants that grow in hardy soil and in quality soil. They have to be watered daily and trimmed throughout the season. But these roses were able to grow in a crack in concrete. So all these things considered, this rose really defied the odds and did this through its own personal determination and using what resources it had. It followed its dreams, and I relate this poem very much to our students in doing that with all the challenges and some things that they have overcome to reach their goal of graduation. So students, I want to thank you for following your dreams, for persevering through the tough times, and I want to say congratulations on your graduation. would like to do one special recognition. So seniors, could you all come up here, please, right now? And, we've got one senior who has kind of volunteered, or Ms. May, of course, to read a nice little, a little thing for a person who's been really special for these kids, and this is something that the kids really, want to do for a person they care a lot about. So, Treva, can you come up and read loud and proud?
We wanted to do this for Ms. Schroep. As speaker of all Burket students, past and present, I would like to present you with a special gift from all of us. Here we have a rose bush. We hope this bush will be a symbol and nice reminder for you of all the students' lives you've touched. Sure, we have our thorns, but we've grown into beautiful roses with your care, love, and guidance. As this rose bush grows and numerous rosebuds bud, please remember all of us students at Burket Educational Center. Congratulations.
Class of 2019 marks the 16th year of graduates from Burket Educational Center. To date, we have had 339 students who have attended here and have gone on to graduate from high school. Please join me in welcoming our class of 2019. Seniors, when I call your name, please come forward to the stage. Treva Ann Ashby. Treva entered Burket back during her sophomore year. She had moved to this area from Colorado and was behind on her work. She had struggled at times with school due to some issues outside of her control, such as anxiety and frequent migraines and headaches. These health issues led her to miss a lot of school days and get behind in her classwork. To combat this, she had tried online learning through the state of Indiana, but found little success there. She needed the human interaction and help on difficult materials she had to go through. She was able to find that here at Burket. During her time at Burket, Treva found a home for her education where she was able to truly flourish. Although it was a gradual transition from a student on the verge of dropping out to a student who was a great leader and thrived in the classroom, there is little that Treva did not accomplish while she was here at school. During her 3 years at Burket, Treva was able to earn all the credits needed to earn her high school Core 40 diploma. She did all this through her hard work and extreme intelligence, despite having to miss many days due to her headaches. It took a ton of work, courage, and dedication on Treva's part to make this happen. Treva was a perfectionist with her work, often wanting reset for a higher score. I can recall her notes that she would take, and even though she was very impressive academically, what impressed me most about Treva was her growth as a person and her maturation. She went from being concerned only with herself and her own survival to a student who was a strong leader and truly put others first. She would be the first to take time to help others, make sure they did what was right at school. While at school, Treva put many of her talents on display. She was an avid pool player on the team of the Dancing Rainbows. Helped to establish the consistent rules of play for the pool for students to follow. She was very respectful and positive in the classroom as well. She developed close friendships with many of those around her, including faculty and staff. She was an excellent leader in the JAG program as well. On a side note, during her time here, Treva became well known as a lover of her Mountain Dew, and it was notorious that Mom would have to come and bring Treva Mountain Dew on many occasions. Outside of school, Treva has many interests and hobbies. She's an extremely talented dancer and has been on the cast of shows for the past 11 years of performing. She likes to spend time with her fiancé and with her family. Her plans for the future are ambitious but attainable. She would like to study 2 different fields, both business and performing arts. She wants to use her knowledge and skill to one day open her own dance studio as the owner. With her imagination, talent, and intelligence, I expect her to make it big as a dance studio owner. Treva Ann Ashby. Autumn Nicole Buell. Autumn came to Burket during the second half of her sophomore year. She was dealing with some deep personal issues and difficult times and was facing bullying from her classmates. The pressure of school was becoming more than what she could stand and she needed a new start. Instead of quitting school altogether, she and her mother decided to give Burket a chance. While at Burket, Autumn soon proved to be an exceptional student. She was a very hard worker, and her high levels of intelligence were quickly seen. She not only did an impressive amount of work, she also did it very well. She was a student who was very particular about her grades and tried to do every lesson to the best of her ability. Due to her high ability and her work ethics, Autumn was able to be on track and move ahead academically, even though she was going through a lot. Autumn was a very articulate student and a leader in the classroom, as a person that many of the students looked up to for leadership and guidance. She made her mark as a leader of the JAG program last year when she went to state as a finalist for the competency. At that point, she got to meet Governor Holcomb and other state leaders and won a great deal of prize money. There were some difficult times in her journey as well. She did not always get along with her mother, and they battled at times. Things, though, have improved greatly since she's been able to live with Grandma, and since she's now very close to Mom. During her junior year, we were afraid that we had lost her as she had moved to Wawasee. But she was only gone a month and soon realized that she belonged here at Burket. The friendships that she had built here meant a lot to her, and she missed many aspects of our school. Upon return, she worked very hard and continued to excel both in the classroom and JAG. She was able to finish all of the work needed for her Core 40 diploma earlier this year and used that opportunity to work more hours at Warsaw Meadows as an activities aide. Outside of school and work, Autumn enjoys spending time with her friends and her 2 sisters, Reagan and Morgan. She's active in the political process. She likes to watch movies and spend time with residents at the center at Warsaw Meadows that she's grown to love. Autumn specifically credits her mother for her support and also Mrs. Stroke for her love and guidance. She is pursuing her CNA license with her training in June through Nurses Etc., as Mrs. Both alluded to. She is considering nursing for a career. Whatever path Autumn ends up choosing, she will find much success with her ability. Autumn Nicole Buell. Raven Justice Hatfield. To say Raven had a straight path to stand before you today would be a gross misrepresentation of the truth. She has proven to be one of the most challenging students to graduate from our program this year. Raven first started back with us in October of her junior year. She had been removed from high school due to disciplinary reasons. She had already proven there that she was a good student academically. She was not behind on her work. While periods of hard work, but she also had periods followed by less productivity. She was always extremely well behaved and had many friends here at school. During her junior year, her boyfriend Clayton attended school and graduated from here as well. Raven had been making some progress and was also working late at night at Pizza Hut. During her long hours, she had struggled a great deal with her attendance and her motivation to stay in school. This set her back academically. Once her senior year started, apathy crept in, and it became more widespread. Without her boyfriend to attend school with her, she fell into a rut. She began missing more and more days and attendance, and nothing seemed to change that. Despite countless phone calls, meetings with administration and her parents, and home visits from the resource officer, Raven simply refused to come consistently. Finally, things had gotten so bad, Raven made the bad decision to quit school in October. Spending time away from school was very difficult for Raven, and she knew it was not a good path to be on in her heart. When the second semester rolled around, she and her mother lobbied for another chance at school, and she was granted that by the administration. Although she still struggled with attendance, once she returned, she was much more resolved to earn her diploma. Raven worked hard and had very good behavior while she was at school. She spent many hours working with Mrs. Schroep and was close to not finishing on time with us here today. Ultimately, it was her determination and belief in herself that led her to be here today as a graduate. In the classroom, Raven was very respected and admired among her peers. She was always polite and cheerful. In her time at Burket, I did not know one single student who did not like Raven, as she was a friend to all. She said that she really liked how Burket was like a family and that the students stand up for one another. Outside of school, Raven has many things that she enjoys, such as reading and spending time with friends. She enjoys raising livestock and wants to have goats of her own down the road. She is not yet set on what her plans for the future are, but knows that she wants to be a person who gives extra to those who are the most in need. With her ability, big heart, and kindness, Raven will be a strong asset to our community down the road of life. Raven Justice Hatfield. Swade Alexander Kimball. They call him Swade. Swade was perhaps one of the most difficult students I've had in my teaching tenure. And he certainly found his way to all the staff's heart here at Burket. He was a solitary student who did not want to be exposed to new things. Naturally, he struggled with being sent to Burket due to disciplinary reasons back in October of his junior year. He was very happy in his environment at the high school and hated change. Once he arrived, it did not take him long to prove that he was very intelligent. He was a hard worker and showed that he could do extremely well on his work. His attitude was in need of a lot of improvement, however. Swade told me early on that his favorite teacher was his kindergarten teacher, who never said a word to him all year. To accommodate his social reasons for wanting to be alone, I made an agreement with him that I would not talk to him any more than necessary if he did his work. He took this to heart and really made lemonades out of lemons concerning his academics. During his time here, Swade was usually at the top of the class with regard to the amount of work that he completed. He was always our leader on the board of units and credits earned. During his time at Burket, he boasts of never having even 1 minute of individual one-on-one time for extra help on his academics. Swade did have some issues with discipline at times at Burket, though. He started a rebellion against myself and the leadership by training young students in his ways. He created a fake Twitter account for the Mr. Kripe and Mr. Balls. He had to learn some important life lessons through these and his growing process. Swade would often bring chicken from KFC, where he was a worker at, for the students to enjoy, just to be sure to let Mr. Lukens know that he wasn't welcome to him. He had told me that he did not like pledged to be the opposite. Swade continued, though, to progress extremely well on his work, earning his 440 diploma early this year. He made many friends with other students and had his own following. His impact was truly great here at school. After graduation, Swade went to work at Gulfstream in Napanee, where he works to this day. He is such a hard worker that he quickly moved up the ranks and is now the leading electrician on his assembly line. Aside from work, Swade has many interests. He can play, I thought it was 4 instruments, but he can actually play 6 different instruments musically. He enjoys playing cards, drawing, gaming, and spending time with family. He even keeps in touch with students at Burket. One of my happiest moments as a teacher at school was when Isaac Byers came to me and told me Swade even missed me. He missed school so much.
Yes, my ex-Holden!
Down the road, Swade plans on going to college where he wants to study game design. Swade actually has an appointment set up at the University of Southern California for a visit in July. USC. Hard work and never get in that attitude, Swade will be very successful down the road of life. Swade Alexander Kimball. Isaac Jacob Morris Lau. Isaac is not present. He did talk to me ahead of time, graduated from Burket, and he is currently a full-time employee at O&R Buildings at Akron, so he is at work today. Brant Samuel Miller. Brant entered Burket in mid-August of this year. He had missed the beginning of the school year and couldn't start on time, so it set him behind on his classes. Having a late start was a difficult spot for him to be in. During his second half of his junior year, he had struggled to pass his classes, and he was missing many of his friends from Middlebury and didn't particularly like school. This left him deficient on his core classes needed for his graduation. During his time at Burket, Brant established his brand of behavior. He was extremely well behaved and had a strong sense of pride and discipline. He was an excellent leader in the classroom and a great contributor to our classroom environment. His depth of knowledge of history and military knowledge really impresses me, his knowledge of the battles and whatnot. Brant developed many interests and a close group of friends at Burket and was extremely well liked. Although Brant's very intelligent, the classroom was a bit of a struggle for him, to say the least. To be honest, Brant was a student who dreaded to come to school altogether. He was interested in academic things, such as world news and happenings, but would often neglect his work. His attendance consisted of only half a day at Burket, as he was a 2-year program member of the Warsaw Career Welding Program. Throughout the year, his progress was slow due to a lack of interest, his shorter schedule, and distractions with the news. But Brant he also struggled to find motivation. But he greatly benefited from one-on-one tutoring at his time here. Brant did not always like having to work one-on-one with the staff, but we kind of had to force him to do that so that he would concentrate on his work. But here he stands before you a graduate. There were certainly times when we were worried that Brant would be able to be here with us today, but he persevered and made it to this point. Although he had his struggles in school, it is a testament to his character that he is now finished. He gives a lot of the credit to his grandmother, who helped to keep an eye on his progress, kept him in attendance and his performance at school. She's an extremely caring person who did a lot to help Brant be here today. Not only did Brant eventually finish the coursework, but he now has the skill of welding to boast of as well, as he has been a member of the welding program in Warsaw for 2 years. Brant appreciates the time he spent with Mr. Drudge on his trips to welding each day, and said that greatly helped him find the motivation towards graduation. Brant has many interests and hobbies. as we mentioned, he's extremely interested in world affairs. He's a championship level ping pong player and was the student body champion this year. Grant enjoys fishing and spending time with friends outside of school. Down the road, Grant is unsure of what he wants to do. He's talked to Ivy Tech about that possibility. His dream job is to someday be an astronaut. With his discipline, respect, and pride, he could rise to the stratosphere of whatever field he chooses. Grant, we have a special presentation for you, the student body ping pong champion. Grant, Tessa Danielle Nordyke. Tessa entered Burket back in October. She had been at Valley for a little while and tried it out, but was struggling adjusting to the size of the school. You see, she had been homeschooled for most of her life, and the move to Valley was quite a culture shock for her. Her anxiety and other issues became more than what was manageable, and she needed help from a smaller school. Tessa had been through a lot in her life, and now she needed more one-on-one support. She soon found that in a small school here at Burket. Upon her arrival, she realized she was among friends. She made many friends, built strong relationships. I quickly realized that she was a perfect fit for Burket when she first wore her Chicago Bears shirt to class, the team we both love. She enjoyed attending school, and her attendance improved a great deal once she came here and became comfortable. She was able to get some of the individual attention that she needed to be successful. She had a lot of academic work to do to be able to graduate with us on time. She began this with a fury upon arrival. She was an extremely hard worker and showed that she was very bright as well. She was able to knock out many of the courses needed for her graduation pathway and earn her 440 diploma. For the past couple months, she's been working with Mrs. Schroep and I on her most difficult courses. She said it was never an option in her mind to give up on school, and her determination paid off. She was able to cruise through her final courses with only a few days to spare. While at school, Tessa was an exceptional student. She was very hardworking and a friend to all, a very positive student. She was a solid member of the JAG program and always helped other students to stay on task and to be focused. Outside of school, she has many interests. She enjoys spending time with her friends and her fiancé Adam. She's a huge animal lover and enjoys babysitting and spending time with children. She's currently employed at McDonald's in Warsaw. She has some solid plans for the future as well. She's already accepted to Ivy Tech for the fall of next year, and she's also accepted to UNO. She's trying to decide between the two of them, University of Northwestern Ohio. She's planning on either pursuing medical assisting or nursing. Someday she would like to get married and start her family, and with her ability and big heart, there's really no goal that she cannot accomplish. Tessa Danielle. Jonathan Nalo Ramos. Jonathan is unable to attend. His mother did tell me that he would not be here due to he currently is working and has only been there 3 weeks, so he could not miss work. Caitlin Sue Williams. Last but certainly not least, we have Caitlin. It's been an extreme joy and pleasure to have Caitlin join the Burket family for the second half of this year. She spent most of her high school time in Kentucky before moving to Indiana. For most students, that would have been a very hard move, but for Caitlin, it was only a slight adjustment due to her great personality. She entered Burket due to being behind, particularly on her English credits, and needed extra help in those courses in order to graduate on time. She needed to have a very intense semester to make her dream of graduation a reality. It did not take long upon being at Burket for everyone to realize what a fun and active student Caitlin is. Over her time at Burket, Caitlin proved that she is an ornery student and always wanted in on the action. She was a very hard worker, but she also needed constant reminders to stay on task. Of all the students that I've had, none have been better at telling stories than Caitlin. She was a master of distracting me and others by telling the most interesting stories. Before we knew it, we were behind our schedule. All kidding aside, Caitlin brought a zest and fun to the daily classroom that has been much appreciated. Concerning her work, Caitlin had her ups and downs. There would be times of great progress, followed by times of less than stellar performance. She benefited greatly from having such a loving family that supported her, but was always constantly checking on her work in progress. Sometimes they had to show her tough love, but you always knew that they cared deeply for her success. I think her father made an impact when he told her if she didn't get her units each week, that she would not have her phone from that point forward. She ended up working up to the last minute and just has a tiny bit to go yet to finish, but is on pace to finish by next Friday and walk at the high school graduation with her class. She will graduate with close to 50 credits and her Core 40 diploma. Caitlin's hobbies include spending time with friends and family, writing, and photography. She's an active member of the yearbook club with Mr. Franklin and is an avid supporter of the boys basketball sectional basketball championship team, of which many are her close friends. Caitlin's also employed at McDonald's in Warsaw, where she's been for the past 7 months. After graduation, she plans on continuing her passion for photography. She's already been accepted to Ivy Tech and would like to study the art of photography there. Eventually, she would like to move to Florida with her family members that are already there. With her great personality, creativity, and skill, there is virtually nothing Caitlin cannot accomplish. Caitlin Sue Williams. Before we conclude our ceremony, I'd like to say a few things of thanks. First of all, if Mrs. Schroff could stand once again. Mrs. Schroff is someone extremely special, not only to the student body, but myself. She is resigning, her plans are to resign this year as a paraprofessional. The lives that Mrs. Schroff has touched are immeasurable. She's an invaluable member of the Burket team and has worked on the front lines of our school to help many, many students. She's exceptional in nearly everything that she does. Her patience, kindness, and love cannot be matched. She's truly a master of the curriculum, and her unbelievable patience in helping students has made a huge difference. There are some shoes that are just too big to fill, Mrs. Schroff, and you're one of those. In honor of her, in her work, I'd like to say that she's helped 339 students graduate from Burket Education Center over 16 years, of which Mr. Schroff's been here for 4 years. Mrs. Schroff, we have a plaque in your honor we'd like to present to you, and we'd also like to have your picture with our graduates on our wall page. One final presentation before we conclude today. Could Mr. James please come up? Mr. James has talked to us about going back to his home in Pennsylvania. Mr. James is our mental health therapist here at Burket. He's made a huge impact, particularly this year, with our students at Burket, helping them to realize their potential, make it through the hard times, and find a path for a better tomorrow. Mr. James, we'd like to thank you for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our class of 2019.